Welcome back, everybody, to the ESL Hearthstone Week 8 Legendary Series. That was the sound of the last quarterfinals arriving. That was the best drum roll I could do with a cardboard piece of paper. Amaz versus Gaara is coming up on stream. This is a rematch from DreamHack Bucharest, as well as a few other times, but that was the most iconic matchup for between these two players because Amaz and Gaara met in the semifinals, and then Gaara advanced to win the whole entire tournament. Then they went and met in Millennium Cup, and they played a few other times throughout the year. But now this is an opportunity for Gaara to finally get back on track. I know personally he feels like he's been in a big slump. A lot of people agree that Gaara hasn't been able to make as consistent finishes as he did at the middle towards the end of the year. And Amaz, on the other hand, he comes in as a player who, he won last week his first match, and then his second match he fell flat on his face. And I think a lot has to do with the very, very weird decks he was playing. He had, Baron Geddon and Druid. He had Moker the Ogre and Handlock. And
it was crazy.
Good for him. It's really cool some of the decks he brought, but it's just what's going on? What decks are you making, Amaz? Who gives you these wacky ideas? I love them, but at the same time, it's are they really that good? I don't know.
The thing I noticed about Amaz's decks, though, is just how much they cost as far as dust goes. Every single one of his decks that he brought last week, I think, cost more than 12,000 dust. The value.
Hold on, I can't count that high. 1 sec.
Yeah, to put that into perspective, a zoo deck is 1,700 or something like that. So it's a lot, and they were packed full of legendaries. So maybe he was just going with the surprise factor. But more importantly than any result or anything you could say about these guys, Team Tempo Storm versus Team Archon.
Yes.
It is. It's a pretty new rivalry because Team Archon is new.
Yep.
But two player-made teams. Two of the players that made the teams have
two
some
of the most popular.
Have the highest fan bases out of any of them.
Yep.
And sort of good versus evil. Of course, Raynet being the good and Amaz being the evil.
Look at you being coy with that. We'll take it. We'll take it. Temple Storm more of the bad boys, sure.
Yeah.
And then you have the Archon, the good-hearted people. But we'll see. We'll see how the rosters end up developing. Cause I know Archon just recently picked up some guys and girl. They had Nadia joining their ranks recently, and they're making some waves. So let's see if they can keep up that momentum. Firebat unfortunately dropped out, which means Amaz is the last member that from Archon that can qualify. Meanwhile, there is one Temple Storm member through with Magic Amy. Very good pool that we have. Magic Amy, Show, and Zalay, followed by Chalky, Waifu, Silent Storm, as well as Max. One of those, three of those four people will be qualified.
Yeah, and in 1 week of the Legendary Series, we also had an all-Tempo Storm Finals. There actually is a potential for that to happen again today. It was hyped versus Magic Amy last time. It has the potential to be
Maybe
Kit
Kats
Kats
versus
Gaara this time around. So I'm sure, of course, Dan would be
4 out of
happy
5
to see
players were in the finals for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, we have actually seen
or
other
Raynet, was it?
Yeah, we've seen a couple Archon players as well. We saw Backspace.
Yeah, Backspace made it to the semis.
Yep.
Hosty, I believe, lost in the first round,
yeah.
Unfortunately.
So right now, it seems like Tempo Storm's getting the best of them. Amaz is going to look to change that.
Well, leadership, a good mark of leadership is to surround yourself with people who are better than you. And Raynet is a really good leader. That's why I think Gaara's got this.
It's a good thing Raynet's probably sleeping right now.
Yeah, he's probably what probably he's doing is he's just waking up. He finished blow drying his hair that he started 3 hours ago. He's eating some cereal.
He's gonna stream for 10 minutes.
His kitchen only has 2 things. It has bread and cereal. He's probably eating some cereal, chewing, and then shaking his head as he listens to this cast because he's probably watching and cheering Gaara on for sure.
The 2 main food groups, bread and cereal.
That's good. That's good.
Unstable Portal.
Yeah, Unstable Portal is one of those really, it's just such an Amaz card. A lot of people would take it out because they don't feel like it fits into the consistent rhythm of a mech mage. But Amaz would definitely play Unstable Portal. If there's one player that you're well, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he Unstable Portaled.
What?
No
Do
way.
it! Do it! What's the worst that can happen against the handlock? He's just gonna life tap next turn.
Yeah. He can't deal with it. Oh, Dark Bomb Mortal Coil.
Well, Hellfire Mortal Coil.
He'd be able to Dark Bomb Mortal Coil next turn anyway.
Super awkward.
Wow.
And actually kind of hilarious because that Gaara can deal with it for free and life tap. He can Hellfire Mortal Coil life tap. Whatever. You know what? Interestingly enough, though, Hellfire is one of the better cards to have against this deck.
That's true. Yeah, he just used like one of his main AoE removals.
Exactly. And now Gaara knows that it's not a passive freeze mage deck, so he has to actually play a little bit more aggressive. I really like the evaluation that he has to go for the Nation Watcher now that he has the Iron Beak Owl. It's a very good observation. And of course, Amaz, he just has spells in his hand, so this is the best that he can do.
That was a really interesting interaction to start off.
Yeah, that's not the start of the game that I was anticipating.
No. Oh, I anticipated it.
No, you do.
You're right. I didn't. I'm a fraud.
That's an awesome term, by the way. Again, how FGC always says, like, calls people fraud and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the best thing that Maz can do is just keep up the board momentum. Take out the Iron Beak Owl for free. Gaara hasn't tapped actually that much, so he's going to be, after the Sludge Belcher, he's going to be looking for some plays.
You're pretty edgy to call it the FGC.
Why?
Just an edgy thing to do. You're so edgy, Dan.
Why is that edgy?
I don't know.
Is it too edgy for you?
Might be.
Oh, alright.
It's another good name for a team.
Hmm.
To join the Clutch Jugglers. Too edgy for you.
3 edgy, 5 me. Well, this is still really awkward for Amaz. You have to spend 2 cards effectively to get rid of this. I think the Spider Tank developed something a little bit better. He already used a Mortal Coil.
Does Mech Mage play Arcane Intellect that often? I feel like it's a card that a lot of Mech Mages don't put in.
It's a good point. Maybe it's not a common thing at all.
Because it's usually on... I mean, it's good for refilling your hand later. But it seems like on turn 3, that's a crucial turn for Mech Mage. That's a turn that they usually make big things happen. I mean, Unstable Portals, at least in a tournament setting, is not necessarily a card that you'd see in Mech Mage either, but who knows? We haven't seen the rest of this deck yet, so can't really make too many judgments on it.
Alright, well, Arcane Intellect's actually pretty strong in this position, I suppose. Maybe not necessarily strong. I think maybe if it was another card to play, like the Goblin Blast Mage, because if he draws a Goblin Blast Mage or a Mechanical Yeti, he can't play it now.
It doesn't seem like in Mech Mage it would ever like improve your position in a game.
Late game, when you're running out of cards, it does, generally speaking.
Yeah, but that's true. I feel like there would be better ways to like replenish your hand.
But Amaz is forced to play this really slow.
Yeah.
And I can't help but get worried for him because I feel like the longer this game goes, Handlock's going to be in a really good spot because how they outpace the Mech Mage, like card-wise.
Now, sometimes this deck can do really well against Handlock because they can usually have enough of a burst early on to be able to put him in range for their reach.
It's a pretty good draw, almost as good as it gets with the Ancient Watcher. Because now you can pair with the Defender of Argus. Although maybe you don't feel like you have to. The pressure isn't that high at the moment. He only has 2 cards remaining.
Has Shadow Flame in his hand as well.
One thing you have to be in the back of your mind is what is your opponent is capable of playing the next turns. And he's capable of playing Dr. Boom. Great draw again. Gaara's running really well this game so far.
Alright.
So
Well, he knows that those aren't 3 real cards. 2 of those are spare parts.
Yeah, I have to imagine Amaz is looking for Antonitis or something similar to that. So the danger of playing the Pilot Shredder is if both of those die, he has no mechs to get Tinkertown value on.
Or Cogmaster even.
Right. I think the Tinkertown Technician Cogmaster play is slightly better.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
it's also vulnerable to Shadow Flame. So like, it's like a pick your poison here.
There is a small chance that Pilot Shredder could get a mech.
Sure.
Mech Warper, Micro Machine.
2 Time Rewinders. Is there any application to that at all?
In this deck? Not really, because it's kind of counterintuitive to
Maybe
Archmage
the
Antonidas.
Goblin Blast Mage.
Oh, that's true. But Archmage Antonidas, it's probably the one that you'd want the least, because if you play it on an empty board, then you can't spam spare parts. You have to play Archmage Antonidas and then only get one piece of...
I mean, Gaara has a really strong board wipe now. He doesn't have to play the Dr. Boom, even though it feels like it's great to play it on curve, because there is 10 damage, and if his opponent had, like, you know, fireballs, 2 fireballs, he'd die. It is unlikely, though, because you know 3 of those cards, if you're paying attention, have been spare parts, so
Yeah.
he would have to top deck the last answer.
I wonder.
Would you tap Shadow Flame here?
Yes.
Just feel like it's just too strong.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage on board.
I like that you're getting at a... I like that you're still collecting and keeping your card count high enough so that way it's applicable to have like Molten Giant be supported instead of just Molten Giant. Pretty devastating though for Amaz.
Yeah.
I mean, Snow Chugger is okay. He needs to start finding his read. He used both Frostbolts unfortunately, which means Fireballs are his final remaining points of direct damage.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like the Ancient Watcher Shadow Flame in that situation, because even if he just goes all phase next turn, what, 10 damage on board? Puts him at 10. Even if he activates Molten Giants and puts your opponent on a really short clock. Oh, there's Goblin Blast Mage.
Yeah.
But
He's got 2 Goblin Blast Mages, in fact.
he
The
does.
boom bots, right? Is that what you're afraid of?
The boom bots.
If it kills off the Snow Chugger?
Or if it kills off the Goblin Blast Mage.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh man, here we go. 2 bombs.
Okay.
All right.
Wow, I'd say that's pretty best case.
Oh,
Hit the
best
face
case
for
would have been
one.
hit the Goblin Blast Mage twice for 2 damage or 3 damage.
Oh yeah, that's true, since you're going to replay it.
Right.
Yep.
Wow, so much direct damage to the face. Oh my goodness. This game has escalated so quickly. And Gaara can't really play around the Firebolt top deck.
No, but I mean, he could put a double Molten Giant. Now, the big thing here is, do you clear the Piloted Shredder off the board,
Yeah.
or do you push for damage because you know you're going to be on a clock?
That's a good point.
Because
Well, if you leave up what's here, that's 11 points of damage on board, and you're gonna put 16 points of taunt on this turn, right?
yeah, but you need to preserve the damage that you're placing on the board, because even if he just kills off the board next turn, he's at a Fireball to win,
Right.
and you're at a Draxus just to stay alive. The
Okay,
following
if you
turn.
do damage this turn, you have 18, and then you put 2 giants and you Shadow Flame. I think it's pretty reasonable. Tap. I guess tapping is okay because in the end it's the same since it's just Fireball. He already used
Yeah.
both Frostbolts.
I mean, Ping's gonna. Well, I guess
Jeez,
if
what
he's
a
putting that
board.
many.
Amaz needs Fireball right now. I think he also
Yes.
might have to kill his Goblin Blast Mage just so that he reduces the damage and pushes through. No, Noyotron's not it. Is there something he can get off his Pilot Shredder? Another Noyotron?
Oh
Because
well.
a Noyotron does end up staying alive.
A Noyotron, yeah, keeps him alive.
Like a second Noyotron.
No, a
right?
Noyotron right now keeps him alive.
Well, no, because there's Shadow Flame,
What to do?
right?
What to do?
Like you attack with the Sun Fury into it,
Okay,
and then
so
you
he
Shadow
could
Flame.
clear one of the giants here with Ping, Whirling Blades, and what's on the board. Then there would be 16, 20.
Defender Vargas.
Oh, Defender Vargas.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he's gonna need something. He's gonna need some help off his pilot shredder.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think there's any. Yeah, no.
Hold on. What if pilot shredder gives you something that you can time rewinder for 2 mana?
What could you time rewinder for 2 mana? That would save you.
Not
Micro Machine
was not it. So he can freeze another minion with Snow Chugger too. I forgot about that. That keeps him alive. The Snow Chugger freezing a minion.
Wouldn't it be the same as just killing a minion?
Well, I'm saying you attack into the 8/8 with
Okay,
the
yeah,
Snow Chugger, so you
yeah.
don't die.
Because you wouldn't
Because
be
if
able
he
to kill it
holds,
without
he's
pinging.
actually dead. If he doesn't freeze a giant here.
Defreeze the one with
Yes.
low health? Or the one with... Okay.
Oh! What a draw from Gaara. That's actually right there at the game. Amaz can't come back from that. There's just way too much.
He can even tap.
Yeah, but most likely I think he will Antique Healbot and then maybe even Shadow Flame.
Shadow Flame, yeah. I wouldn't mind that.
So many possibilities.
Just has to go over every permutation. As much as it's like a card that you've been looking for, you have to make sure to find the optimal play. This is one of Gaara's strengths as a player because he's really meticulous about everything.
You can check out more from Gaara at tempostorm.com.
That was TJ saying. That wasn't Frodan.
No, that was Frodan.
But thank you, TJ. Your check's in the mail.
Don't let him.
Okay, so now Amaz needs Deathwing. I wasn't going to miss that one.
For those of you that didn't tune in yesterday, every single week, Frodan, when someone plays Hunter and they're about to lose, he said, oh, they can top deck Deathwing. Well, yesterday was a player named UNC Tennis who actually played Deathwing and Hunter,
Yeah.
and it nearly won him a game.
Yeah. It's a real thing. Anyways, Deathwing and Mech Mage is not actually a thing. That's just game 1. There's still plenty of time for Amaz to maybe come back or Gaara to perhaps mess up here, but
For sure.
seems like a pretty solid start. Handlock versus Mech Mage. Now I think we go into our second match here
Mage versus
with
Hunter.
Mage versus Hunter. This one might be a little tough. I think Gaara... I don't actually know what Gaara's playing either, mage-wise. I know Hyped really loves Freeze Mage, and I know Reynad really liked Fatigue Mage. Either way, both of those are more of the slower variant. And
Amy played Freeze Mage as well
Yeah,
in the week that
that's
she
true.
won.
I think Gaara leans towards the Fatigue Mage. I'm not sure.
Well, Hunter is pretty great at stopping a lot of variations of Mage. Not even because it used to be a really great matchup for Freeze Mage because of Flare.
Right.
But now it's even great without Flare just because of how much pressure you can put on. You can kill them before they have a chance to really build up, get time really to draw into their answers and then their win conditions.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Deathlord is actually surprisingly like super godly in the matchup because it often pulls like a Leper Gnome or a Clockwork Gnome or an Undertaker
There's
if they don't have it.
almost no downside.
And then it like slays everything. It's like a 4-for-1.
Yeah.
Because everything has 1 or 2 health. So if it is Fatigue Mage, I would say it's pretty strong. But
It is
it looks
not.
like to be a mid-range tempo mage. Right? With Shade Next Rammus and Water Elemental.
Yeah.
I don't know how this mage actually does. I'm actually like having a hard time gauging it currently on the totem pole. Like, where do you think it sits relative to Hunter?
I think it'd probably be middle of the pack as far as other variations of Mage go. I don't think it would be as good as like a faster Mage or Fatigue Mage with a great start like Deathlord.
Right.
But I think that it's better than Freeze Mage.
Well, one thing's for sure, it probably still sucks to see an Undertaker in turn 1. Or if you pick up a way to silence it, that's actually not too inconvenient of a play. I think silencing the Undertaker here is extremely warranted, considering 1, the Iron Beak Owl will challenge everything on the board, but 2, you don't want to take too much damage. Alright. Mad Scientist is good for the tempo too, though.
Yeah.
It's just sad because we know what's coming next.
Yes.
3/4 Undertaker.
Yes, we do. And a pretty good curve as well for Amaz. Got a turn 3 Animal Companion followed by Houndmaster.
It's just too valuable to give up the Mad Secret. The Mad Secretist. The Mad Scientist Mage. It's just so good because it's 3 mana that you put into play. The tempo that you gain is really valuable. And Gaara might pick up a Mirror Entity, or he might pick up a Counter Spell which denies an Animal Companion.
Without a taunt though, if he picks up like Duplicate, Hunters will just ignore Duplicate.
Also a good point. But you can't ignore a Water Elemental, for example. And I think Gaara was also heavily relying that Amaz would do a play like this, where he wouldn't acknowledge his Mad Scientist because he wants him to make the trade. And so maybe he can now silence the Undertaker, kill it off, and keep the Mad Scientist alive. And as a result, Mad Scientist 3-for-1s because he kills off 2 minions and it puts a secret into play. That could be Gaara's thinking, in which case that's very advanced and forward thinking and reliant that your opponent makes the exact moves and plays optimally.
But you also have to think, then next turn, if he plays Duplicate, he gets Duplicate from the Mad Scientist.
Right.
He can force Gaara to duplicate an
owl?
Ironbeak Owl.
That's not so bad, honestly.
Compared to Water Elemental,
Sure.
Sledge Belcher.
But most likely Hunter is going to be directing the aggression towards the mage because he's going to be rushing it down, especially with this kind of start.
That's an elegant way to put it.
Oh!
He's going to be directing his aggression towards the facial region.
That voice is so good. The Doctor?
Dr. Hunter.
Dr. Hunter? Well, let's see here. You seem to have too much health. So let's just put some damage there.
We're going to start a course of treatment of...
What do you know? Guess he's dead.
That went to like Jim Raynor way too quickly.
What do you know? Guess she's dead. Well, the good thing is Gaara does have Frostbolt. Amaz putting on a lot of pressure here. He needs to also test to see what secret this is. And it's good that he's testing it too before the bow, so that way he's not accelerating the damage. Freezing Trap.
Okay. Yeah, you have Frostbolt. Oh,
Minimize damage as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Realistically, Gaara might run out of time. Hunter might just have too much damage, and he might not have enough time to recover the state of the board.
Whoa.
It's a lot of damage.
I would feel inclined to play Houndmaster here, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's a really strong option. The Houndmaster for Amaz, it's just 4 damage that you want to invest in. Because you have the Eagle Horn Bow, which is 6, and assuming you can hero power twice with it, that's 10. You just need to put together like 7 damage effectively, which you can do with the Houndmaster in a kill command.
Yeah.
And you just weave that in throughout turns.
This maximizes the damage more efficiently because you can Eagle Horn Bow.
Perfect draw.
Wow.
That was the draw he needed. I feel like Gaara's been getting very fortunate in these games. And Amaz has actually gotten relatively okay draws, but it hasn't actually panned out as well for him.
There's a beast in the picture of the Houndmaster.
Yeah.
If only that counted. This could be a lot better of a removal.
Thank goodness for that too. If Houndmaster actually counted as a beast, I think a lot of people would have quit playing Hearthstone about 6 months ago.
Yep. Seriously though, that would be ridiculous.
On the flip side, hemming Nesawary would have probably been a legit thing, because Hunter would have been so dominant that people would have played hemming.
I remember reading a Reddit thread where people were talking about the potential of GVG cards, and people hated Hunter so much that most people were thinking that Hem and Nesawary was going to be, auto-include, Kazan Mystic, auto-include. My, have the times changed. Gooby
is also, I mean, if you... A Kazan Mystic.
I just said Kazan Mystic, and I was about to say Gooby actually played Kazan Mystic.
You have the gift.
No, not as much as you.
I was going to make a joke, but I forgot.
I'm glad.
You hate my joke. How much damage is this? Not enough. Starting to get close though. Very interesting. I think Gaara got the matchup he wanted. Mage versus Hunter, and he has the Kazan Mystic, but it just doesn't actually work out. He also needs to swing with his bow, because most likely this Water Elemental will shut down any Eagle Horn bow usage from this point on.
Yeah, you need to get it out while you can. And he can actually, well, that would put him at, what, 9 health?
9 health.
So if 2 more creatures end up on the board,
well,
which
he
is
might
very
kill off
unlikely.
the Mad Scientist too to protect his Knife Juggler. Make him go into a hard trade.
That's very true. And then if he does draw into a second Eagle Horn bow, he'll have 1 extra turn to attack unfrozen. But maximizing damage.
Okay, well Echo doesn't do anything here. What secret could he get? Wonder if he has anything defensive at all.
Doesn't
It
seem
has
like
to be offensive.
Yeah.
Oh, if he has Counterspell, he might be able to deny like a kill command if Amaz doesn't sequence correctly.
I'm thinking Counterspell might be unlikely.
It's most likely Mirror Entity or Duplicate,
Yeah.
right? Because it's one of those decks with Echo of Medivh.
Yeah. Let's see. Wonder if we can.
It's a Duplicate. Okay.
Doesn't help him.
I'm really starting to think Gaara just ran out of time here. He just doesn't have enough time to like recover the board state. He has to actually start like attacking the face to start like doing damage and racing, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, even if he stabilizes, eventually the hero power is just going to kill him outright.
Like, I mean, Amaz he just has to hero power and then. Oh wait, does he have enough damage? No, he's 1 mana short. I was like, does he have lethal here?
I think he might want to unleash here just to test the waters for counterspell.
I wouldn't mind testing with just Web Spinner first. Web Spinner most likely will give you a beast back anyways for kill command.
That's true. But maybe not a beast cheap enough to be able to play on the same turn as a kill command or as a hero power.
Okay, sure.
Because this sets up for just Web Spinner. Now he knows not counterspell.
Man, if Gaara has Antique Heal Bot. Oh! No way! How is he doing this?
These draws are pretty insane.
Gaara is running so well right now.
Pretty insane.
And he's got Echo of Medivh!
He was on lethal next turn.
What?
That was his only
This
out.
game just took a complete 180.
Double Echo of Medivh. I mean, next turn he can Echo of Medivh and then play
Oh
it.
my
And then the
god.
next turn he can Echo of Medivh and play again.
No way.
I think that just won Gaara the game. Actually, I'm almost positive that just won Gaara the game. What?
It doesn't matter. He just keeps healing himself.
Yeah, no, I'm like, that wasn't even the Sledge Belter draw that I was wutting.
So he
'Cause
takes
that's
the snake trap.
inconsequential.
Takes the snake trap. He activates another secret. The third secret is Mirror Entity.
Duplicate
Amaz
ants.
gets the Stone Tusk Boar. And Gaara's Mage is having a rave of some sort. It's actually looking really cool.
Yeah, well, I'd be raving at this point as well.
Alright, so Gaara gonna get a Stone Tusk Boar copy. Amaz is shaking in his boots. And
Yikes.
the last chance for Amaz actually is a second kill command, right? Or is he dead?
No, well,
10,
even if he's
14,
not dead,
No, he's not dead. Wait. 4, 10, 14, 15. He's 1 damage off lethal?
oh, he can. It's Stone Tusk
Yeah,
Boar.
Stone Tusk Boar.
Okay,
But he can't echo again.
okay. He wouldn't be able to echo twice and hero power.
Right.
Whew.
Wow. So Gaara's going to be super diligent. And wow, what a game number 2. I can't believe that top deck.
That's heartbreaking for Amaz.
Oh wow. Wow, I forgot about this. Amaz actually is only a few points off from killing his opponent as well. silencing and getting really close. That's a 0-2. And Gaara, once again, is going to be able to make a pretty strong comeback and take a very convincing series lead 2-0.
And
How about them apples?
top decked and wrecked.
Well, you know, specifically, I have to look at this deck and be like, wow, that's really interesting. This is the second mage deck today that we saw run Kazan Mystic.
Mhm.
And,
It was actually Gooby's Shaman that ran it.
oh, was it?
Yeah.
I thought he was this mage deck. My apologies. You're right. So it's the second person today to run a Kazan Mystic.
But
Man,
that's
What a really cool deck.
I think it's a great read. Unfortunately, it didn't do Gooby much. But if you're expecting there to be a lot of mages, or even hunters as well, as we just saw there, Kazan Mystic didn't really do much. I mean, it allowed him to have the peace of mind to push through.
If I may, TJ.
You may.
An anecdote as we get ready for Paladin versus whatever Warlock Amaz has. Gaara, for like a week and a half, sent me files of screenshots of his games.
Okay.
Because he doesn't use like push or any like Giazo or anything like that. He actually manually uploads
The old-fashioned way.
He does, and it was just like a nonstop string of like the worst brawls, the worst possible pilot shredder, the worst possible like Sneasel, like everything kept happening with just like the worst RNG. And he's like, I'm done. I'm like, peace out. I'm going on vacation. And I'll see you guys in like 2 weeks. Like that's how Gaara felt because of so much bad RNG happening.
So he just cashed
So
in.
he just cashed in just now.
Yeah.
Back-to-back games.
He took all those files.
His handlock game was pretty insane too, with the draws that he was getting.
And they weren't even screenshots. He actually took a camera, took a picture of his monitor, uploaded it from his camera to his computer, then sent it to you. That's
No. He just
that's
pressed
how
F-
old-fashioned
he
he
just
is.
pressed F12. He pressed F12 and uploaded to Skype. So.
Ruined my moment.
Sorry. Well, Zoo versus the Paladin. Now, Enhanto Meccano is an interesting card to include. It was one of those cards that people experimented a lot with and said, well, isn't this card actually OP? Then people stopped playing it.
No, the answer is yes.
But people stopped playing it.
I actually put Enhanso Meccano in my Hobgoblin Warrior deck.
Oh my god. TJ has a Hobgoblin Warrior deck that he won't ever stop talking about.
And I won't ever show it to anybody. I mean, I've given away little hints and little pieces of it over the course of the 8 weeks that we've broadcasted. So if people want to go back and watch all 100 hours plus of the VODs and piece together every single Hobgoblin puzzle piece that I've dropped along the way, they can make the deck and become legendary, so to speak.
You're still not getting on Tempo Storm. Well, this is a pretty lightning fast start from Amaz. Now, Gaara does have the muster for battle, thankfully. But then Amaz still has like a pretty strong scenario if he just picks up one Death Rattle minion that costs 1 mana. That's all he has to do, pick up a Death Rattle minion for 1 mana. Is that so hard to ask for?
Not really. Oh, well, maybe it is.
Well, he can clean up the 1/1s.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get around playing. You're not gonna be able to play around Consecration at all, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. You have to cash in now.
Do you play Knife Jug or do you tap?
To be honest,
This is actually really tough. Amaz has been hit with so many tough decisions throughout the series.
yeah. I was going to lean towards actually the Knife Juggler play, but I think the more I think about it, the less I like it. Because you can use the Knife Juggler to combo a little bit later on, and you know that it's pretty much going to die for free.
Just look at the power of Paladin now. Like, he sees firm control of the board. All is left is a 1/1 Undertaker. And you have a Pilot Shredder. Like, if anyone wasn't convinced about Muster for Battle or Shield Mini-Bot, like, just look at what it did to the Zoo matchup all of a sudden.
Yeah, that was a great start with Undertaker.
Let me
It could have flipped the other
Double
way
flame
with a Death Rattle on the Undertaker so it can be buffed, so it can kill a Shield
sure.
Mini-Bot, but...
He can even preserve his Should have minibot here if he's willing to take an extra 3 damage. I don't see why he wouldn't be willing to.
I wonder.
Is he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking about Knife Juggler.
Yeah,
Juggles,
Knife
right.
Juggler and Hero Power.
The validity of doing that. That's actually a pretty strong play too. The Pilot Shredder can get destroyed by Abusive Sergeant as well, so it's not as simple as like just dropping it.
Quickly.
It is a lot stickier.
But it does drop you another minion to fight against whatever the Abusive Sergeant Plus comes out.
If he gets a juggle on one of the flame imps.
Yeah. Oh, actually I was not expecting this play, and I like it.
How so?
Because the 3/3 body is really valuable. You can still keep the Knife Juggler out of
Okay.
dangerous rounds. And the only thing is that I think it's like comparable to the Pilot Shredder, but just what is more important is that you're maximizing your shielded mini bot.
Yeah. Wow, that's Amaz. Can't really catch a break. Joko goes to face, so he's not able to either take the shielded mini bot off the board or be able to kill the all-there Peacekeeper.
Amaz has been really unlucky this series.
Yeah.
But you know what?
It's not something you hear very often.
You know what? I think he might have used up all of his luck on that stealth mail Ganas. What was that all about when I was watching that on the front page?
I don't know.
It's like, how did this even happen?
So
It's one of those
tough to
things when
deal
your friend calls you and he's like, hey TJ,
Let me.
I need you to come over, help me with something. It's like, what? And like, just come over. You come. It's just like this weird, awkward scenario. You're like, how did this even happen? It's like spaghetti on the roof, and like the dog is like caught in between the stairs, and the desk is like halfway out the window. You're like, what happened, Danny? Like, I don't have time to explain. Just come and help.
That's happened before.
It didn't actually happen.
Frodan had his fist
I
stuck
imagine
in a
some
mason
pretty
jar.
colorful scenarios, TJ. But one thing's in common: I need help in all of them.
Ooh, Cockhammer.
The Cockhammer is pretty nice, actually. You get to trade
Yeah.
efficiently with the Divine Shield. One thing you have to be mindful of is how much health that you're at, because if you're using weapons to trade so much, are you taking too much damage? With Power Overwhelming and strong means like Lotheb, Amaz can still make a push to kill.
Yeah. Once you gain control of the board, though, it's sometimes your health total just doesn't matter as much.
The taunt is actually surprisingly really effective too, so that way it's not like if a Doomguard gets pushed here, you can't top deck and push.
Yeah.
And in fact, the Undertaker draw here is very weak. This is the downside that I was hearing about Undertaker had. I never saw one with my own eyes, but I guess this is the downside that they so speak of Undertaker.
I just heard about it.
Legends foretell that late game Undertaker draws might actually be bad.
But early game, it's the...
This winter.
This winter, Keanu Reeves is... The
Well
Undertaker. I think
Keanu Reeves is Ben Bro. God, that's one impression I don't think I'll ever be able to nail. If I ever like sat down and dedicated myself.
Ben Bro?
I don't think I could copy Ben Bro.
No.
Oh, it's the Patient Assassin!
Whoa!
I talked about this card every single time last week with Raynag because we made a guess. We started playing a guessing game of what 2-drop we thought it was. And every time I said it's Patient Assassin because that's the best 2-drop, in my opinion, that you could get. Because it's just so good. It just destroys everything. And Gaara, to capitalize his good draws and his good run, to underline it, is this Patient Assassin. Because now Doomguard gets stopped. Amaz is in such big doo-doo.
Yes. To put it lightly. Because now, he can't play Doomguard. Well, he can, but it...
Well, you might as well play Lotheb first.
Yeah, but if he plays Lotheb, it's just going to die to Patient Assassin. If he plays Doomguard, he's going to have to throw it into the Lotheb anyway, because at that point in the game, he'll have taken so much damage that he'll have to just sort of stall out the bleeding.
Yeah.
And then the Patient Assassin wouldn't have mattered anyway because he could just trade something else in.
Amaz doesn't want his opponent to draw cards either, so Voidwalker just allows that Acolyte of Pain to get value. This is such a nightmare for Amaz. And partially why Paladin has definitely seen a strong resurgence. Its ability to handle aggro while still remaining a mid-game tempo play, or even scale into late-game control with its quality combinations. Granted, it's not as strong as it is late-game as it used to be, but this is a large reason of why it's so good.
That's sort of the nature of mid-game decks. It's just being able to still be aggressive while having the potential to transition the deck into late game. It's a desperation move.
I say you Acolyte of Pain and with the Aldor Peacekeeper on this. Just draw cards. Why not?
Yeah, you have to end up killing it anyway because your opponent can draw an Owl plus a Power Overwhelming.
Yeah, this is really, really bad spot for Amaz here. And it's just one of those. This is just one of those series where it's like you can't help but feel bad for Amaz because it's like there's actually like he couldn't do anything. Gaara also rushed decision. He's realizing he probably should have attacked first.
Yeah, Patient Assassin still lives.
But this will be the final turn, and Amaz can't do anything, so that means Gaara advances to semifinals 3-0. And, well, more importantly, he stays alive in the competition with a chance to advance to the LAN finals. He's going to be playing up against Savits, and we have Tice versus Kit Kats in the upper bracket. Pretty good top 4 so far.
Yeah, you would say that.
Yes, I would say that. As a commentator's job to be happy with the results and to hype it up, it is.
Yeah, I'm happy as well.
I would say that. You're right.
Gaara played well. He did have some draws to help. That's you can't deny that. But definitely strong player. And Amaz has had his fair share of.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Good victories.
Another probably season 2. We'll see Amaz for sure, and he'll probably come back much stronger next time.
There's high hopes for Archon as well. Moving into the team house, they have a lot of great things in the future for his team, his new organization. So breaking
the trend a little bit, we were expecting a 3-2 because it was 3-2, 3-2, 3-2.
Yeah, that was
3 series. But
that was a quick series.
Yeah, it was very fast, but it's a good way to change the pace, I suppose. And
definitely.
Well, Gaara's playing very well. Some unconventional moves, some really cool decks, and well, you need a little bit of luck to win any tournament, right?
Showing the versatility of Mage as well. We've seen just today. We've seen Freeze Mage, we've seen Fatigue Mage, we've seen aggressive Mech Mage, we've seen a little bit of a slower Mech Mage, and we've seen the value Tempo Mage. Cool stuff.
Cool stuff indeed. Well, we're going to take a break. Before we get to semifinals, though, we want to remind you guys about all the cool promotions that are going on with Cooler Master, Newegg, Western Digital, and Crucial. They've been supporting us all season long. Make sure to check out all their products here at the lower link. And while you're at it, too, you can check out the Plantronics deal. I think this past break you saw an offer to sign up and win 2 rig headset gear, or you can get expert packs for Hearthstone. You can get a chance to open up some legendary cards, some cool epics that you're missing, or maybe Disenchanted for Dust.
Yeah.
You'll find out how during the break after this quick commercial. Do you want to say anything, TJ?
Yeah. I'm going to have to throw a fit in between the break because pretty sure I'm ineligible for the expert packs. Sad face.